Greetings and welcome to the Halloween edition of the Sliders Review. And I'm here today to talk to you about The Strain, the fourth and final season. So, this is sadly the last season of The Strain. It was created by that Guillermo del Toro, I cannot say his name, and Chuck Hogan. And it's based off of their graphic novel. I remember this came back out on FX back in the day, and I just absolutely fell in love with this show. And but when it came to this last season, I was really anticipation, like, man, what are they gonna do? What's gonna happen? Like that nuke just went off, and the vampires are taking over the world, and there's no more sunlight. So what's gonna happen? Well, sadly, what happened was the time jump. 9 months to be exactly, and our group has split up. Now I will say it's not a terrible season. It's not terrible. It's slightly underwhelming. Like, you want that group together. You want them trying to solve things. You want people, like, I wanted to see what happened in the aftermath of like the nuke going off. I wanted to see the humans try to take on the vampires and take them down. We get told stuff like that. And of course, they've all been captured or killed or stuff like that. But it would have been nice to see everything happen and stuff, and see the group splitting up more and, stuff like that. And, like I said before, man, like, a lot has changed. The vampires have literally taken over the world. And so, while not like a terrible season and nothing like that, it's just slightly underwhelming. Everybody has their own story arc or scattered around. Some characters don't show up till halfway into the season. Some people die I was not wanting to die. Especially this person had a little screen time. I guess they was filming something else. And it's just one of those things that, like, I wish they could have went out with a huge bang, just not the type of bang they went with. So what happened, you're wondering? Well, 3 months after Zach, nuked, the atmosphere, or whatever you want to call it, vampires literally took over. Now during the day, it's like there's a cloud around, and you can't really see the sunlight. And Goodweather left New York. He couldn't take it no more. He couldn't take Zach following in the path of now Palmer slash the master, because Palmer now is, the master and stuff. And so there's no more Palmer. It's just literally the master in his body. And so Goodweather left, and he went to Philadelphia and everything, leaving the group. And well, with the vampires taking over, I was wondering what exactly is going to happen. It's going to be like Van Helsing, the television series, or whatever. But no, it seems that this is back doing like World War II times, where like the vampires are kind of like the German Nazis. And so I have to say Nazis because I can't say the other word, because you know how YouTube is. And so, and the reason why it's like that is because of Iltris and everything. But him being a German and him fighting in the war and everything and being a bad person, he has literally converted the world to how the Nazis, of how the Germans would have taken over. People are in death camps. There are some humans that have turned traitor and work with the vampires and everything. And it's a big mess. They're rounding people up left and right. People have like these armbands around them with like a barcode, and they're giving like a designated number instead of their name. They aren't allowed to eat good food. The good food is like, for people like Zach or like the humans that turn traitor. And like the humans just have to eat these type of nutrition bars and everything. And it's really bad. Many of them are having to bundle up, and the ones that are allowed to like live out in society, they're allowed to like bundle up in the home. They're like living in they're squatting in like poor conditions. It's rough and everything. But you have the people who are allowed to just go, not necessarily go where they please. They have a curfew and strict rules. They're allowed to walk the streets. They're allowed to get their nutrition bars, this and that. And but they also have to go to their jobs because things have to be regulated. And after that, there's a curfew. They have to stay indoors at a certain time. Then you have people who are traitor, and they're basically, they still have to follow rules as well, because they can get like bit and everything if they don't, or killed. And they're basically allowed to like roam around wherever they want to. They have fancier jobs. Um, but fancy restaurants they're still not allowed to go to. Only certain people are. So it's very micromanaged and everything. Then you have the other group of people who said, screw this, and are hiding out. And so they're scattered around the world, and they're kind of like a resistance, like all around the world and stuff. Then, or just people trying to like survive. Then you have the people who are cattle and everything. Basically, the Sugoi have lied to the humans, say, "Oh, we built this paradise for you far, far away, and you're the chosen lucky people who get to go." What they don't realize is that they're there for food and everything. They are the blood that the vampires suck on and everything. And then you have the other group of people, the blood B type people who have blood type B. They're put in medical facilities, and they're forced to breed. And at first I was kind of confused as to what the heck is going on. Are they breeding with vampires? No, they're breeding with humans. But for whatever reason, I guess the Sugoi really love type B type blood. So they get a bunch of women impregnated, then they drain the babies of their blood. Then when the women are done, then they put them on hooks and let them drip dry. Let them let their blood run out and stuff. And it's really gross and it's really disgusting, but it's a little confusing about the whole type B thing. And it sucks, man. Everybody's worst fear who knew about the Sugoi has literally come to fruition and everything. And one thing I appreciate about this is that it doesn't look or feel like The Walking Dead. This could have been a Walking Dead ripoff, but it's not because it's based off an actual comic novel. Now, Van Helsing, yeah, that's even though it's based off a comic, they tried to look like and feel like The Walking Dead. And so our group and everything, like I said before, are scattered. You have Angel, who's residing in the city and trying to help like the locals out with medicine and stuff. He has changed and turned over a new leaf. Since this is like he caused all this crap by like smuggling in the master for like money and stuff. He lost all his family and he's reunited now with his cousin. And because he found out his cousin works in the factory to make the granola on the nutrition bars. And so basically what they do is that, they steal a bunch of meds and they give them to people who needs them. But then, Angel, he's not Angel. Gus. Angel died in the last season. Gus, the gangster dude. Oh, also he has hair now. And he's working with Cream. So they're like, giving the old people medicine and stuff, but then, they want some food. So they realize, hey, where his cousin works at, we can steal it and everything. So they do. And so that's basically what he does. Cream, on the other hand, is being his stupid, I want more out of life kind of thing. He's partially responsible as well. And so, like, he tries to make a deal with the master about like ratting people out, the group and everything, and then he ends up getting drained and turned into a Sugoi. I never liked that character, and I'm glad he got his comeuppings and stuff. Goodweather has gone to Philadelphia, and he's just there living a normal life, trying to stay out the way of everybody, until he ends up getting caught. And so then he's put like on a transport bus, only for it to get blown up. And so when it got blown up, he found a group of resistance fighters. He helped patch up the wounded, and there he met Alex. And him and Alex are trying to, well, Alex's whole thing is to blow up as many buses as she can, but she doesn't know that there are people, passengers on board, prisoners and stuff. So he tells them that he found something suspicious. The Sugoi are draining out the water and supplying it with blood. So apparently there's more going on. Because see, the Sugoi have stopped eating people and stuff. And we know why, because they're making people into cattle. And so they find like this home with this girl cell phone and her talking about how she doesn't want to leave and she's gonna stay here and all this other crap, only for them to like find like her cell phone outside, track down where she went, and that's when they found out people are being used as cattle. So they head that to New York, and to try to like stop the master and all this other stuff. Dutch and the professor, Sadrakian and everything, they got captured about 3 months in. Basically, they was hiding out, and they saw a bunch of like vampires and traitors, rounding people up. So he wanted the lumen and everything, and you know how that man is. He won't leave without it. And so she goes to get it and she tells him to go out and hide. Well, when she goes and hides the book and everything, because the building was burning down, which it was in, she comes out and boom, she gets captured. And so then she gets put on the transport bus where she sees the professor and he just looks defeated and everything. Like, his worst nightmare has come true. When they go to a facility, he realized something looks familiar. It's the same way things were back in Germany and stuff with the Jewish people. And he whips out his sword and is all like, I've seen this before. He refuses to be another number. He refuses to go back to the death camps. He tries to fight the people off, but he gets knocked out, and then he gets separated from that of Dutch. So then when it comes to Dutch, she is in the breeding facility and everything, but so far she ain't bred with nobody, so thank God. But she's been secretly working on a way to get out by trying to smooth up to one of the traders and everything, have him smuggle her out. It takes some convincing and a little banging and this and that. And so it well, actually, I don't think they banged. She lied and said they did, because if he does bang her, he's in trouble. And so their plans don't go the way they want to because she's trying to get another girl out of there. And so he ends up getting fired and her chance is gone. Thing is, the one dude who's a traitor, Desai or something like that, he don't know who she is. But, the master and Iltris, they're looking for the group. And then when they finally find out that he has Dutch, of course, he wants her for himself and everything. Because remember, the internet is still off and she's partially responsible as well because she shut the internet off. And so she's able to fight her way out at some point, and she finds out the location of Sadrakian. He has literally been drugged and sedated, and he's been that way for months. So we don't see Sadrakian until about the 7th episode in, and there's not that many this season. I think there's only 10, and he doesn't show up until the 7th. And so she gets him out. Him and Iltris, they have their exchange of words and everything, because him and Iltris are the best hero villain duo I've ever seen on television. They hate each other, and Iltris just hates him to death because of his race and everything, because the professor is Jewish. So when they escape and they go back to their lair and everything, that's when they meet up with that of Gus. And so he's reading the lumen, trying to figure out how to end this, but then Cream ends up betraying them and stuff. And so Iltris finally gets what he wanted. He finally killed he tried to turn Sadrakian, and I was like, no man, this is Sadrakian, man. No, he got bit and everything. All that man went through, and he's partially responsible because he's the one who built the casket for that of the master back in the old days and stuff. But the way he killed Iltris will still live on in my memory. So he knew he might not be strong enough to fight the vampires because he's been sedated for months. So he drugs himself with a compound that can kill the Sugoi. So when he got bit by Iltris, because he knew Iltris would never resist, Iltris ended up getting poisoned. So then as Iltris is on his knees and everything, boy, Sadrakian whips out his cane sword. He gives him a nice little speech talking about, let me talk to the master. And after giving that speech, he lets Ildris know exactly what his name is and that he is not a number and chops that dude's head off. That mess was boss level. But sadly, he is turning and he's still obsessed with the Lumen. So he's trying to decipher it and all this and that. When the whole group finally meets up with him, they're sad and heartbroken because, that's their dude. You know what I'm saying? He's the one who's like a father figure to them and their mentor. Not so much a father figure, but more like a mentor. And so they're upset and everything. But he's kind of rambling when Imp, I think is his name, has like a plan to kill the master. He does not want to go along with that plan. Instead, he wants to do things his way with the book and everything, and talking about don't let his memory go out in vain, all he researched. But he's rambling and not making a lot of sense. Like he's saying that you have to see the head of Jesus and you have to separate the master from his minions and all this other stuff. But, it is time for him to leave because he feels the master coming on and his transformation. So he gives his sword to that of, what's that dude? No, Fit. That's how I keep forgetting that dude's name. If is Goodweather, and so Fit is the other dude with the beard. So he gives his sword to Fit, and he just chops his head off and everything. And it's like, no, man, he only appeared in the 7th and the 8th episode, and he's gone. Like we didn't get to see the rest of him. So that's why this season feels underwhelming because everybody didn't really get the he didn't really get to do nothing. He's the man, you know what I'm saying? So what has Fit been up to? Well, Fit has been in Nebraska and he met a woman named Charlotte who is played by that of Rona Mitra. And I was really happy to see her in this. And so, but she doesn't last long. Basically, she's just his blank buddy and everything. But she's hoping to kill the Segori and stuff like that. Well, when they get taken by a group of women survivors and everything who just wants to kill them for no apparent reason, they meet one of their prisoners, a man named Roman. And Roman happens to be plot armor. Roman used to work in the nuclear silos in the military and everything. And so Fit's kind of like, dude, if you can get my hands on a nuke, we can end all of this. Now, Fit has been working along with Quillian, and him and Quillian just cannot get along. We actually get some good backstory more into Quillian. But anyway, so Fit and Roman, with Quillian and Charlotte and a group of rebels and everything, they go and they go get the rest of the material they need for the nuke and everything. And so yeah, they have a partially functional nuke. They need some components, so they have to go back to New York and get those components and stuff. And so it's a crazy trip what they have to go through because Ildris is trying to stop them and everything. So Charlotte gets left behind and goes back with her family. She tries to convince Fit, don't sacrifice yourself. We can just keep living out in my uncle's place. But, he has a mission. He ain't thinking about Dutch. I tell you that right here, right now. 9 months. And he's like, screw you, Dutch. So they head back to New York and everything. And when he lets the professor know, yo, I got myself a nuke. And the professor's like, nah, we're going to do things my way, which kind of confuses people, and stuff. And so Quillian just wants to kill his father. That's the only thing he has in mind. But Quillian, we get some backstory. He was once in love with a woman and everything, and she knew he was a vampire. He got to pretend to be the father to her daughter, and they got to hang out, and he actually experienced a normal life. She dressed him up back as a human-looking person, only for his father to show up and ruin all of that. So that was nice to get some more backstory into this dude. We didn't get no backstory into Drakion, no flashbacks for that, but at least we got some with Quillian. So he is literally just throughout the climax, he fights his father and everything, but he ends up getting dead. The master literally killed this dude by stomping on his face and everything. But Quillian did deliver a nice blow to the master that slowed him down long enough. But now we get into the climax. First I get into Zack. Zack butt-headed little self, the one who hit the nuke and everything. He's been living in New York as kind of like a prince. But he's lonely. He doesn't get to interact with nobody except for Sugoi. And every day he has to take a dropping of the white. And so and the master is teaching him how to hunt and this and that. Why? Because when he gets older, the master wants his body. And this pisses off Ildris, because Ildris all like, why not me? You know, I'm your faithful, loyal subject and everything. And so that causes friction between them. But Zack has fallen in love with a local girl who's his maid. She needs like food for like the people she live with, so Zack gives it to her. But when she don't show up, he spies on her and sees she has a boyfriend. He don't like that, and he orders his little vampire doll demon looking thing to like, you know, kill her and stuff. And he turns her. So anyway, Zack is just an evil person now this season. And I can't believe he did what he did at the end of season 3. It's like he doomed the entire world just because his supposed mom died. And the master pretends to be his mom, you know, and tricks him and stuff. So I have no sympathy for Zack. And so when they find out that the group has a nuke, they have to find it. So Zack pretends to have been taken captive by like the master and tries to weasel up to his father. Only for the rest of the group, y'all like, look, man, I know he's your son, but you can't trust him and stuff. So he led the rest of the vampires to them, to the point where, like, Goodweather literally put a gun to his son's head and was about to pull the trigger, but couldn't, and everything. Zack is a terrible person, and he's just a kid. And so in the climax, the entire group are like shooting Sugoi, and this is the part that really bums me out. It wasn't this big blowout fight or nothing like that. It's just them with a bunch of guns shooting out the Sugoi, then fleeing, then shooting some more up, and then you have the fight between the master and Quillian. Quillian gets a good blow on him, the master stomps his head out. And so Goodweather decided to take some of the professor's advice and separate the master from his minions. And that's where the nuke is down below. And so he gets bit. And no, when the master got like killed by Quillian, the master transferred himself into Goodweather. And so like Goodweather has now turned. Zack now has his father back, but not the way he wanted to. This is when that little butthead has a turn, turns like a new side and everything. He realizes, you know, I doomed the world. My mom is dead, and my dad has now been turned. And he decides to press the button once again on the nuke, killing the master. Well, of course, you know, all the rest of the Sugoi aren't being led by the master, so they're kind of like zombies now, just roaming around, and they're easy to kill. About a year now has passed, and with that, Fit kind of like narrates what's been going on. He says that, like, you know, with the master gone, the rest of the Sugoi are easy to take out, but the government, for whatever reason, wanted to keep some handy on them so they can, like, you know, examine and study and stuff like that. So, of course, at some point, they might get out because they literally took out the security camera. But the thing is, without the master, they shouldn't be that, like, lively and everything. The rats have returned to the subway system because there's no more vampires. And everybody around the world are killing vampires left and right. The sun is now back and everything. And they remember they're falling like friends. Gus is still alive. His cousin's not. Fit is alive. Roman, the dude who had the nuke, you know, he has now became like, he started, I think he got put into Congress or something like that. The world is slowly going back to normal and everything. So what about the traitors and everything? Well, most likely they're going to be arrested. And so him and Dutch are now back in a relationship together, and it just ends. Like I said before, it's not like a terrible season. It is very engaging and everything. Oh, by the way, Alex dies and stuff. Charlotte is no more to be seen after she left. But yeah, it's a good season and everything. It's just not great. The scientific element about it, just like got like written completely out. There isn't that much Stradrakian and everything, and it just kind of feels incomplete. And I don't know why. He must have been filming something else, but we needed more of him, you know what I'm saying? But all in all, it's a nice ending to like what happened and stuff, you know? That wasn't that spooky. Alright, well, I shall talk to y'all later. Bye.